We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. Most people know that iodine deficiency has been a crisis around the world. Iodine is key to so many of the body's functions, especially the thyroid. I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating, and the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
InfoWars.com. Infowars.com. The backup site has a lot of news on it every day that doesn't end up on Infowars.com. Sometimes I find more on Prison Planet than I do on Infowars, but regardless, that is the backup site. We're on Twitter at Real Alex Jones, and of course, most of the big Twitter accounts that have like 5 million, 10 million followers, it's come out in the news, are fake. The presidents, the first ladies, ours isn't fake. We came to Twitter late in the game, so it only has like 280,000 followers on it. That's still good because it's real followers. And sometimes I'll tweet on the weekend if something's happening, or I'll tweet a video, or I'll tweet an article, or I'll tweet a photo, or I'll tweet humor. You get more of my humor, which might be funny depending on your views, at Real Alex Jones. Very important to follow Real Alex Jones. Even though it's a globalist platform, it's very useful. Now, we had fans that set up fan sites on Facebook pretty early on. That's why we have 3 million folks that like us on Facebook, about 900,000 on one, and you add all the others together, it's about 3 million. And that's because we got there early. One thing I've noticed about the internet, it's important to get there early. When some new platform comes out, if you get to one of these sites late, it's not as easy to dominate it. Of course, we've dominated YouTube. We got to that, not really early, but not late. We got to it by about 2012 2005, right when it got sold to Google. We were on it before it got sold to Google, whenever that was. And obviously, on one channel, we didn't set our channel up till like 2009 or so. And that one has 400 and something million, but all put together, 800 million on big channels alone of people that have seen our videos. And that's just big channels. I can't even track all the others. And I'm not tooting our horn. I'm saying people are awake. Liberty is popular. And now the IRS has been exposed, being political, going after people who are innocent. But it's a fraud to begin with. Didn't get set up till 1913. The average American didn't pay money to the IRS till the 1950s. And here's a headline from the New York Times in 2000, April 16th. IRS more likely to audit the poor and not the rich. And since then, I've seen that headline over and over again where I mean, there's not auditors for Warren Buffett, boys and girls. But if you own a car dealership, you're getting audited every year. If you own a restaurant, you're getting audited every year. That's what the poor people think are rich people. Or if you make $20,000 a year, $30,000, those audits went up in 2013. They reported this year, and of rich went down even more. But I'm ranting. I want to give Mark Adams, investigative journalist, the floor, and then a new article that just went live on Infowars.com. North Carolina sheriff to residents fight back against crime by taking up arms. And he goes on to say crime is exploding in their county due to the illegal alien crime wave, the economy being bad. And that's the truth. Crime has gone down since 1992 with the end of the crack cocaine epidemic. I remember when I was a kid growing up in Dallas, there'd be sometimes 4 murders a day, 5 murders a day. I remember hearing, 20 murders in the last 3 days over the weekend. Dallas had the highest crime rate, worse than Chicago when I was growing up. But it was more than that. They think it was the lead and the fuel made people violent or something. I mean, I grew up where if you looked at somebody wrong, they would just jump out of their truck while it was moving and just run towards you. I mean, it was just like fist fights constantly. And I lived in a nice neighborhood. And people were shooting each other and stuff sometimes. It was like wives shooting husbands, you name it. Just crazy stuff. But I don't know why I'm going off on that jag. The point is, since guns became so incredibly popular and concealed carry came out, that the FBI even admits that's one of the largest reasons crime's gone down. Also taking lead out of the fuel. Lead will make you a mad dog, folks. That was a big part of why the U.S. was so violent, because we would lead the fuel. A lot of other folks banned that before we ever did. But so I give that to the left, who always talks about crime dropping, being fuel. That's part of it, but the guns are the biggest, because lead was out for a long time. Crime went down some and then down even more by the mid-90s, 2000, and through that, when the lead had already been out by the 80s. But I'm going to go back to my guess. You know how I love factoids. But now, because of the economy being in a depression in most areas and methamphetamine and the rest of it, crime, muggings, shootings, people knocking out the window in your car, people stealing your bag when you go to the bathroom at the restaurant. Petty crime is off the charts. And what's happening is people trying to carjack. Carjack's coming back. It's not as bad as it was since concealed carry came in, but it's coming back. They're just getting killed. Muggings are going up. They're getting killed. So the sheriff, we're going to play the clip after our guest leaves us and Ventura joins us. He says, get guns. Learn how to use them, because the sheriff's department is overwhelmed, and departments are saying this everywhere. Start shooting these people. Somebody tries to mug you, tries to break in your car, grab the revolver, shove it in their chest, pull the trigger till they're dead, till they're off of you. And that'll teach all these people to go out and get a job and work and not go around knocking people on the head. Let's go ahead and go back to our guest, Mark Adams, the investigative journalist who's writing a book about Congressman George Hansen, who was arrested, tortured. He's getting into earlier congressmen and senators that were persecuted. Then I want to get into his torture and when your book is coming out. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you, Alex. One thing I want to point out here, it was the Life magazine article that really sabotaged Senator Ed Long. He lost the primary election in August 1968. Life magazine never published a retraction, even though it was proven that he was innocent of those charges that were put forth in the article. Well, on August 6th, 1968, 46 years ago today, the IRS Commissioner, Sheldon Cohen, called Bill Lampert, the associate editor at Life magazine, to offer them his congratulations.
And by the way, we're showing the New York Times article as you speak. Go ahead.
Yes. Now, Bernard Fensterwald, he was chief counsel to Senator Long's committee. He also did not mince words. He came right out and warned senators and congressmen who are not scared of looking into the IRS have to be crazy, because the IRS will just ruin your career.
And they should have all gotten together as a coalition against cowardice and all come out, or even 30 or 40, then they couldn't bring them all down. But instead, cowards all sit down while great men like Congressman Hansen are tortured.
Yes. Well, one senator who came forward was Senator Joseph Montoya. He was a Democrat from New Mexico. He chaired the IRS Appropriations Subcommittee. And in 1972, he started lining up witnesses to testify before his subcommittee about IRS atrocities. Well, in 1975, he was sandbagged when IRS operatives colluded with Bob Woodward and a Washington Post. IRS chief blocks audit of Montoya's taxes. Well, that was the screaming headline on the October 19th, 1975 edition of the Washington Post. And that article by Bob Woodward has got all the appearances of a real work of sabotage. Right there at the beginning of the article, Woodward states that Montoya, Senator Montoya, had been twice recommended for prosecution because he allegedly failed to file returns going back to World War II they were looking at, 1945 and 1946. But then, 4 paragraphs later, Woodward writes, there is no evidence that Montoya has illegally evaded taxes.
For those that don't know, Bob Woodward, I'm not defending Nixon, was naval intelligence, and that was a total setup. They were giving him all the intel to bring down the presidency, to bring in a soft queue of bureaucrats. So anytime Woodward or Bernstein, especially Woodward, are involved in something, you got to look out.
Well, yes. In fact, what Montoya was doing was he was making people nervous. He was going full throttle to, again, show America how the IRS behaves like a Gestapo, preying on defenseless Americans. Now, remember, in 1968, the IRS finally got rid of Senator Long. Now, just 4 years later, Senator Montoya is in hot pursuit. Woodward doesn't mention any of this. All he says in this article is he, Montoya, is well known on Capitol Hill for his active interest in IRS matters. Of course he has an active interest in IRS matters. He's the one who chairs the subcommittee that oversees the IRS.
Yeah, the headline should be IRS persecuting Congress, IRS going after their bosses, IRS in political sabotage of those that would bring him to justice. IRS tries to block congressional prosecutor. That's what's really going on.
Well, in fact, in 1972, when Montoya was really getting serious of looking into the IRS, that's when the IRS district director in New Mexico decided to start investigating Montoya. Then, in December 1972, an IRS memorandum was issued by IRS Chief Intelligence Division. This was in San Francisco. And that memorandum branded Senator Montoya as a tax protester. And they further smeared him